Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NLC Div 2. We did have a quick delay and pause just to work on some stuff, but we all ironed out. We're getting ready to go into our third game of the day, which is going to be Nativz versus Verdant. Verdant 2-4 in the standings right now. Nativz 4-2. There have been some changes to the native lineups, a few change arounds. Handcat is going in the jungle, I believe. I can't remember exactly who's going in the top lane, but we'll see that in a little bit. And it's interesting because we were obviously talking to number 99, the head
Mm.
coach of Munster after the first game, and he was like, I really rate Handcat. So I'm curious to see how this new version of Verdant is going to go down.
I mean, I don't know. Anytime you swap out a player, and we actually saw in that first match as well, it can always go the opposite way of intention, or at least how you would like it to go. I'm always very skeptical when players get swapped out of existing lineups during the split that they've been practicing in and playing
Yeah.
for, because what we don't always get to see is the weeks of practice leading up to events like this, and that's what might hinder this slight alteration for the Verdant side.
Mm. Well, I don't know. It's interesting because sometimes you do see that that person comes in and they're just a little bit that like spark that really ignites it. And let's
Yeah.
be real, for Verdant, they've won two games.
Abadage for 100 Thieves, mate,
Yeah,
right? That was a
exactly. Right.
different roster afterwards, yeah.
Exactly. And Verdant 2-4. You need to shake things up. You need to find a way to
Mm,
change things. I can't remember the exact reason. There were reasons that they put up on Twitter for why they did change out their top lane as well. So, the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. But, moving away from that, you do think, these are the changes. They've happened for a reason. They brought Handcat in. I am excited to see Handcat in the jungle. He's someone I have followed for a little while now and genuinely has impressed me over the short period I've been following their career. So, not a bad player by any means. So I'm interested to see, how this is going to go down for them and, what this is going to mean for the squad. Obviously, we're playing on a different patch from last week. So, we've got the things like the Corki changes and stuff, although Corki's been banned all day. So it's interesting to
mm.
see how Corki kind of got forgotten about yesterday in NLC, but now we move into Div 2 and it's still
Bam,
like
bam, bam.
high priority band. So I
Yeah.
love I love the differences between the two divisions.
Honestly, I think it's correct to still ban the Corki. I just shh, don't let Div 1 know that, but I mean, Div 2, sensible bans, mostly actually, through both of our two games. And we've got to look over on the other side of this coin. The other team in question, Nat,
Yeah.
they're the only team, remember, back all the way in week one that did beat Munster, and they're
Yeah.
one of those teams. Yes, they have had some hiccups. Lucent were one of those teams which actually caused them a hiccup, but they still look good. They still look strong. And going against Verdant, who have got a swapped jungler, I mean, how much of a confidence boost? Get that win, get everything back to how it should be. Feel yourselves again. This could be a perfect setup for them, honestly, as a team.
Yeah, you'd hope so. You'd hope so. We'll be moving into picks and bans fairly soon and getting ready to go into this game. I'm curious to see, what we're going to see during the picks and bans. Is it more of the same, more of the standard, or maybe a little bit more from what we saw from AAB where they went really weird and sure it didn't work, but a little bit of a weird champ select can always, upset the apple cart, so to speak.
Let me tell you what my research has drawn in to prepare for this matchup of Titans. I'm expecting almost zero crossover outside of the top lane and the support role. Both of our support players here play both Karma, both Nautilus, both of our top laners play Camille and Gragas. Champions we have talked a lot about already today, and I'm expecting hugely that they should be done. But obviously, things like the Zeri, things like the Gwen, these things need to be banned on top of
Yeah.
things like Veigar at the moment. Twisted Fate, one that was red 1 banned already in that previous match we've already talked.
I am so interested to see. I understand why Corki still gets banned, but like Twisted Fate felt like he really, really got hit hard by the
It's
nerf.
that global factor, mate.
Yeah, I guess global gold cards are always quite nice. Also, one thing to keep in mind as well, Lundorf does typically, well, is very good at kind of just leaning on to being like on duty if need
Yeah.
be. Very good weak side, a very good team fighter with that pick as well. So it is a champion that they have in their wheelhouse. Like you said, they still have the Camille, the Gragas as options as well. I love Gragas as a weak sider, amazing wave clear, great team fighting potential. But he also offers peel and engage. He offers a lot to whatever team he goes on. But obviously does have a few matchups that do feel a little bit harder than the likes of like an Ornn lane. But we're seeing the picks and bans. They've rocketed out pretty much standard stuff there. The Diana's a bit of an interesting one. But now we're seeing what Verdant are going to look to pick up here. Zeri being banned away. See what the first pick is going to be. I hope it's not a blue side Jinx one. Trouble was very vocal about that yesterday on Div 1.
Yeah.
100% loss rate. And oh no, they did it. Why did they do the Jinx one, man? It's...
The
So what
thing
do you
is,
leave open? Felios
Kate-
fresh. Like,
Caitlyn is
amazing
still
last
open. The fact that Caitlyn is still open and wasn't picked over the Jinx, like if you pick the Caitlyn, you're basically going, you can pick the Jinx, but I will bully her early game. Jinx is so powerful because she gets to play everyone. Nativz, you just get to wait until they see they can do B3, B4, and well, B2, B3, and then actually decide if they still want to do it. They have the option. They just went for support jungle, which I love because they picked up Thresh, one of the most high-band jungle supports in the whole game, full stopping competitive play. And Zin's out. We've already seen what he can do. Though we haven't seen one of the Ruined King, and I'd love to see that picked up here if we're going for this direction.
Yeah, he's a solid jungler. You know, he's a real nuisance in team fights with the reset. So pretty solid pickup there. I believe Handcat does play this pick as well. We'll see what Ericsson decides to go for here, if they want to just pick up, you know, a mid laner for him and try and get him on a comfortable position. But realistically, I'm expecting that support to come in. You got the likes of the Lulu still open as like an enchanter support. Obviously, you know, if they go like Caitlyn fresh or a Felios fresh, then yes, this bot lane could be a little rough. But actually, they go for Fiora.
That's
I'm
wrong.
not sure about the blind Fiora here for Kez.
Oh my god, and then you literally have to look at this. Tryndamere is far more reasonable at this moment in time to blind pick because guess what? Flex him in between two different... Oh my god.
Open.
Oh my
I don't
god,
keep
there's
forgetting
so
about this
many
guy.
options. Well, yeah, because you know, you don't expect it. Quinn's open, Gangplank's open, Camille's still open. There's a lot of champions where if you have to go against a Fiora, you have the options to pick the way that you want to play. You don't even have to play the Ornn style.
As a Gangplank connoisseur, I will say I actually really like this matchup for GP. It's a nice matchup. You know, as it gets later to the point where Fiora can just 1v1 the GP just wave clears and doesn't interact with her.
Yeah.
He can still interact with the map with his ultimate. And in laning phase, in the earlier phases, when you got the, you know, trial by fire early does so much damage. Level 1 can be really rough for Fiora unless like the weak spots appear in like really nice positions. It's way nicer for GP, especially at the level 2 when you get, you know, you got the Q, you got the barrels, you got all the resets on the trial by fire. Horrible little matchup up there. So I actually think this is nice for Lundorf. Another champion we did see him lean on previously. The bans are going out, the Victor, the Corki, the Aphelios. Probably just going to be another AD carry on the side of Verdant. That Caitlyn that we talked about has been left open. They're actually going to go for the Jhin.
What?
And actually, I genuinely think the Jin's probably a better ban than the Caitlyn. Just because Jhin fresh is a really nasty lane.
Yeah, and they're already showing with a GP that they kind of want to not play for the complete early game only. They do want to kind of think about the mid to late game. Caitlyn is still fantastic, by the way, in those positions. So I wouldn't have hated it, but I think obviously you have to pick an AD carry here. There's still a bunch open that are perfectly serviceable. That isn't Samira. Tristana's more than appropriate in this response, especially against a composition that wants to get on top of her, like a Viego. It's the best way against that. You jump away. And then you jump back when you want to.
Away, either or,
yeah,
really.
you blow him away. You've got options, and I love this from this side for this team because they've got so many options across the board. Whereas Verdant at the moment, I don't know. They've got like kind of 3 different champions who all kind of want to play the game in slightly different ways. And
I really don't like this. Okay, so what this means is they're going to be leaning very heavily into that 1-3-1. Something I said is a little bit of a bait. Now, sure, they might be able to pull it off, but you know, you've got a lot of scaling. Where's your early damage? That's the real question, because Fiora, it's not a terrible lane, but like it can be a rough lane. If GP starts to pull ahead, this lane gets very
well, and
hard.
if you mess up a riposte and he eats an orange at the right point, like so much bad juju can happen, mate. I also want to mention very quickly, this Tristana can be switched to mid.
True.
Ryze is like awful.
That's a genuine point. However, I think if you put Tristana mid, your damage profile is all AD, which is a real problem. So I think even though there's not too many tanks, you probably don't want to be doing that. This, I'm not sure if we're gonna see a Zillion. I'm gonna hold my reservations. I'd prefer
really
like
good versus Ryze,
you know, something a little bit more traditional. But nope, they go for the Zillion. So recognizing, all right, Verdant are going 1-3-1. We can just team fight. GP doesn't even have to get in the team fight because he just has his ultimate. And then Zillion's going to make sure that Joppa is immortal. You got so much peeling, like you're talking about. There's the jumping, there's the lantern, there's the buster shot. You've got now you got the revive from the chrono shift. There's a lot of abilities available to keep Joppa alive and up in these fights, while Lundorf can just hold off IM Kez. Verdant, they need to 1-3-1. I'm expecting this to probably be like the Winter's Approach, either Everfrost or Crown. Rise in the side lane. But this is very much a 1-3-1 team. Yes, Rise can team fight, but he's going to need time. And I think that's the big thing for Verdant, is they need time. And we haven't a game that has gone on longer than like 25 minutes today. Rise needs way more than 25 minutes, and Jinx realistically also kind of wants a little bit more than 23 minutes, 25 minutes, because like that's the moment where she starts to come online. I think Nativz have drafted themselves a really nice comp that can snowball very, very hard here. And if they do start to get the early lead, I just don't see a way where Verdant can claw this back.
No, like, there's not a single way in my eyes. Reasonably outside of divine intervention coming in and acts of nature or acts of God, which your insurance won't cover for obvious reasons. Like, that's the only way I see this working for Verdant. There's a huge draft gap between these two teams here. The fact that the Fiora was just blind picked and just kind of gave all of the options. We've already talked about that top lane matchup in ad nauseum almost, so we won't touch on that until they actually start battling it out. But there's just so much around this map. This Rise is just put into a spot where he's outranged in just basic abilities. These bombs are going to be so big of an issue for them to ever do. I mean, honestly, they could have picked an Ivan mid and it could have been just as good for them.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much. Go for it.
I'm still going to say I think I prefer the Orianna over the Zilean. I know what the Zilean achieves, but I just think the Orianna gives you very stable wave clear, great team fighting utility.
Honestly,
but, you know,
wait, no, he was banned.
Yeah, Victor was bad, yeah. But yeah, no, I still think, you know, the Zilean, it does what they want it to do. It is a support here for the Tristana, the speed ups, the resurrection, and like you said, the bomb's also a really nice zoning tool as well. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how that goes down. I'll keep my eyes on this mid lane, but scaling is the name of this game if you're on the side of Verdant, and I'm just worried that they don't have the time to do so.
I think they are on a ticking clock. And yes, and the hilarious thing is, Verdant want to scale. That doesn't necessarily win the enemy the game, because if you look on the other side, Gangplank like scaling, relatively speaking. Tristana has always been known as a scaling champion, so okay, that's not terrible. And then Zilean, well, Zilean bombs, once you hit 3 items, actually can kind of one-shot a Jinx. Like genuinely one-shot. So it's not even like it's a get out of jail card, Verdant knowing that they can hit the 35-40 minute mark and go, okay, we can win the game. You're not guaranteed, even with a Zin falling off. There's still a lot of factors, and if you just get to go to Reset City with this, not the Jinx, the Tristana. Jinx is on the other side who wants Reset City, but it's going to be a lot harder for her, frankly, in my eyes. So, God, Verdant, you've got an uphill battle from just minute 1, and as we see, no invade, everything's saying fine. Both of our junglers are kind of matching one another, and they're going to be doing their path down to this bot side. And if we have a look through everything, Hail of Blades for this Tristana, she's all about just getting a basic combo going and just doing damage as and when needed.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what Verdant can do, because we talked a lot about, you know, their weaknesses right now. But what can they do? Now,
they can absolutely scale through the top lane. They can just make awful time with a Viego.
Yes, you've also got, you know, there is, you know, the ability to find a pick potential when you've got the likes of a Nautilus.
Ooh, like this.
Janky hooked, as stated there. Things like that, you know, can get really dangerous later on into the game. Once Jinx has 3 items, you take a hit like that as Jopper, you haven't got cleanse. There is kill potential there. Draconium actually has exhaust, so in a 1v1 or a 2v2, that extra combat summoner could be really, really effective for them.
Only if Azinzao doesn't come out of the corner. Yes, absolutely. And I think these two junglers are going to control a lot of how this is going to operate around these lanes, because if we leave the lanes to their own devices, Verdant have a winning lane at this moment in time. Jinx still bullies almost everybody else except for a Caitlyn. So I absolutely love the fact of how they're already playing this lane. They've got an early push into them, and this Tristana, she's going to have to wait a little bit. She went bomb first as well, not going jump, so she hasn't got any escape tools, so she's going to have to play a little bit more defensively. Is gone to level 2 now, probably went for that Q so she can actually clear the wave more effectively, unless she really wanted to prioritize that. But I think Jupa isn't going to be going that way, has probably gone for the Q with the bomb, and now they just get to farm up and catch this whole wave. There's an invade is happening as they've sniffed it out, and they know that because guess what? Blue buff, red buff, rotate, invade. That was the play that they went with this Viego. But then it's going to be able to get it back around. And as this kind of comes back around, and I just keep talking because I get this opportunity because we're not fighting every few seconds. It's crazy, Hitbrain. I'm so used to fights happening every few seconds. We're going to get full clears, and this is our two junglers having to reset and go around, and they're still going to be looking bot side. But if you look at the vision, Verdant have control of the river at the moment.
Is it actually the first game of today where we've not just had fighting from minute
Well,
one?
our top laners are still doing it.
Yeah, but top laners will always trade it. Like, this is a GP with grasp, so wants to be stacking that grasp as much as possible. I've talked extensively about grasp versus first strike on GP. I still think grasp is amazing on him. I know that they obviously got changed a little bit. Might have to hold that because Clocks finds himself the lantern. They're looking for the knock-up. They've got the bomb fully charged, and Winter will go down. First blood to Clocks.
And they absolutely wanted to try and put that over to Jupa. The problem was the traps came through, they stopped him and stunned him, so they tried it for the longest time, but at one point you have to just limit break and go, we need to get this kill. We need to make sure it's secure and doesn't run out of our faces. They do secure it. Clocks gets that for that Thresh, and hey, that's first blood. That's gold in the pocket, and Tristana getting that gold as well on with the assistance. Goes back and gets a pickaxe and a ruby crystal, and hey, that's also a full half item for the jungler as well. So this is not what Verdant need. They needed to have the Jinx lane especially getting far ahead earlier game, or at least bullying this Tristana.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually did see that Winter roamed up towards the top side to try and stop Lundorf from getting the lane in a pretty horrible place, but looks like Kez is just going to have to reset. Lundorf wants to try and crash this wave. Could set up a slow push into himself if he wants, but it's just going to crash the wave and try and deny Kez, force out the TP. Because Lundorf has already used his TP to get back to lane with that Sheen. Winter may have to be a little careful because that's a good hook from Clocks. They get the double bombs off. A great lantern from downtown. Winter's jumped in and he's popped. Ryle able to find the kill. Now they're looking for Schnell as he's going to get hit by Ericsson. The overload just about lands. A turnaround and a 1-for-1.
Yeah, and I love it. The support flash forward to try and find another aggressive line to keep putting the damage. Just didn't quite come out there. It ended up being a 1-for-1, but there are a lot of ways that could have just gone way worse for the side of Verdant. They find the opportunity back in and do it, but now this Tristana's feeling themselves because if you look at it just from a raw power level point of view.
What a lantern into the flay. Not going to go down today, though. Draconium had Winter waiting around.
Yeah.
But that was a beautiful hook from Clocks, and this is a Clock special, this champion. Seeing him on the fresh over all these years, it's just such a good comfort pick, and also just a very strong champion in the meta right now.
Absolutely. I would argue probably the best support still currently in the game outside of maybe things like a Yuumi on the kind of correct comp, which hilariously Verdant are playing at this moment in time. I would have actually loved a Yuumi because there's about 3 targets you can sit on and she's pretty useful. But thankfully the cat is not involved in this matchup. Both our top laners have got 6. Neither of them actually have teleportation. Neither does our mid laner for Zillion. So going to be the Realm Warp potentially affecting this first dragon as it is coming in as a Hextech one.
Absolutely. Nice hook here from Winter. Is going to land onto Joppa, but Joppa turns it around and double kills are picked up aplenty. 2 members of Nativz go down. The power of the GP coming up huge as well. They get themselves that Hextech dragon. Cool fact, actually. Attack speed is super nice on GP. Not just because he autos, but for contesting barrels. Genuinely, attack speed is so useful for that champion. I had
an ARAM last night where I kept getting out, tried to hit my barrels with my Q. The problem was the Sona kept auto-attacking it faster than my Q would hit the barrels.
You'll find most champions actually have a faster attack animation than GP's Q, from a distance anyway.
Yeah, I was not expecting
melee,
that.
but you might as well be meleeing the barrel. But like, it's actually a very slow-moving projectile, so it's very easy to beat him to his barrel. So if you're standing close range and you have that extra attack speed and you're using an auto-attack to reset the barrel, having extra attack speed means you do guarantee the pop faster. It's really, really nice little mechanic with GP. And it's why, you know, Triforce is still such a popular build on them, because that extra little bit of attack speed is super useful.
Yeah, and I mean, Triforce in general has been seen more and more in the metagame at the moment because it's just actually people are starting to look and unlock the power of this item now. Clocks level 5 already hovering around this top side. I wonder, is this where they're going to start putting this pressure? Rift Herald has spawned, so it does make a lot of sense. And if you look at where Jinx is going, she's going down to that bot lane. They haven't got the support here. Winter is coming up, but they're a bit late.
Yeah, they're bringing everybody in. Kez needs to
Oh.
land a wonderful riposte, but isn't even going to need it. Just flashes out to safety, not going to risk it. That's going to be Kez out of there.
And I mean, Lundorf is actually resetting. He's just recalled back, and he hasn't got a teleport, so he's going to have to walk the long way back. And it does mean they are giving up on this first Rift Tower, which is a surprise, because I would have thought they had first action to make the call. Decided to call it off, and in actuality, it's just going to be the opposite side of Verdant getting it.
Chopper just doing a light trade. It's kind of the trading patterns of a Tristana 1v1 versus the Jinx. Taking a look at the CS numbers right now, pretty much everyone's equal, although Kez, all things considered, doing a pretty good job of actually keeping themselves ahead in farm. They have got a wave shoving in to Lundorf, but Winter's here to make sure that Lundorf doesn't feel safe collecting this farm and trying to equalize out the score. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, they are going to be able to collect themselves a couple of plates. It is a Tristana, so these towers do get demolished real fast down there. A bunch of plates are going to get picked up for Jopper. It did look like Lundorf was able to collect a majority of that wave, but didn't get it all. So it is still down in the farm department, but those 2 assists are going to be coming up real nice for them.
Yeah, but just look at this whole wave that's just been eaten by this tower because this Jinx just can't go forward. Look, Clocks is literally preventing them from actually getting any closer to the minion wave. They've lost so much experience as well as gold. And the fact is, this Cillian hasn't had to do much. They participated in one team fight. They didn't even have to ultimate in that team fight, by the way. They were holding it that whole time in case anyone went low. And it just feels like kind of the cogs are slowly turning for this side. And Verdant are kind of playing catch up.
Verdant definitely are on the back foot right now.
Fnatic brush.
See if Verdant falls.
Who wants to pull the trigger first?
They smell a rat. Hex flashing forward. The Flay goes down. Remember, he has no hook, and that is going to be Jopper securing the kill. Just like that, Draconian will fall.
I'm surprised they don't want to just push it even further. They know that they've got that aggression, and they've got vision on pretty much everybody at the moment, especially when they just saw going through the jungle for Snail. They don't actually need to worry about anything. They can just keep going, and they're probably going to try and secure first turret now that Xin Zhao's come around bot side. Nope, they're going to just reset. They're going to let the wave actually clear itself. Yeah, I mean, he's reset ages ago, so...
They've still got time.
Oh, I mean, they've still got like 4 more minutes until plates go down. So,
thing,
3 minutes, 3 minutes. 14, it's 14 minutes now. Used to be 15. Ugh.
Tristana's very good at taking towers. If you can set this Tristana up to get first tower with plates and not sharing that gold, that is a massive injection into your Trist. That's 610 gold just in the pocket of your Tristana for taking that, plus that additional plate. That just accelerates this bot lane massively far ahead. I'd like to actually have a look at the individual values to see how much gold everyone's holding themselves, because you can see the bot side, it's a 1,100 gold lead up, and we're only 11 minutes in.
Yeah, and not only that, it's also in the support pocket. There's almost a 1k gold lead just through supports, and that's partly because Winter has spent so much time roaming around. He hasn't been passively there just to kind of occasionally give this Jinx more gold. Just has to kind of go, well, I wasn't there, buddy, so you're kind of on your own, and now there's a level disparity, but Sixer just came in.
Oh, that hook was real close, but didn't get close enough. Jopper should be able to at least pick one plate up here. There goes the pop onto the tower. They've got plenty of time to finish up the tower on another wave, but the Rift Tower is going to get used in the top side. Cannon barrage to trim through the wave, and they're not going to be able to take this tower thanks to this cannon barrage.
Ooh.
Especially when Kez is taking a couple of tower shots, but actually they do a lot of damage to it, and the wave is collapsing in, so the race is on. They're going to teleport back in to make sure that this tower doesn't go down, and this should just be first tower blood. Lundorf flashes and finds the kill. A quick bop with the gun, and down goes Handcat.
And I love this as well. Let the whole wave get killed out. Stay right next to it so you get the global gold or local gold as well. So much money has just been thrown into Jopper. And at this moment in time, they can just look at it and go, well, we got the dragon. That went a few minutes ago now. So we secured that one. We got first turret. He got all 5 platings. We can now just reset. Send our Tristana top lane. Gangplank, you go bot lane. Just make sure it doesn't go any worse. There's 5 turret plates there, mate. Don't worry about it. We'll secure it. Push in and apply the pressure as they've already been doing. They don't need to rotate for now another 4 more minutes. And guess what? That Rift Tower will be coming up way before they have any interest in that dragon coming up as well.
This is a big lead now built up in the AD carries. We'll see what items came through after that pickup, but Yeah, curious what happened to Hankat. Did he just take too many tower shots?
Oh,
He took
one?
2 tower shots.
2? And he hung around far enough as well for this for the teleport?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird one. Also, another thing to note is Kess took a tower shot himself. So that was the 3rd tower shot. So the tower actually had ramped up in power during that time.
Very true.
Looks like Plate's going to be falling off fairly soon. I doubt Joppa's going to be able to pick up this tower. Has now got the Kraken Slayer finished up to longsword, and attack speed boots. So Draconian very far behind in their department.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse because
just
the jungle invade. Yeah, jungle invade happens. They know they have to fend off. And like, what can you do if you're a Jinx in this scenario? You're just like getting forced off of your waves. Turret plating is just gone. You know the enemy Tristana has taken probably about 6 turret plates on her own, maybe 7, or maybe share them with their support. But you also know their support is further along and is going to get his first item as well. That just means everyone's going to be tankier, depending on what the direction they want to go with that first item. It's only going to get worse.
Oh, wait! Lundorf almost killed Kez there. Obviously got a lucky crit in or 2.
Wow.
Damn.
And they didn't have the ult there. I think with GP ult, they 100% get that one, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, didn't have flash, so Kez queued and flash. So I don't know if because GP actually has really low movement speed, just base.
True.
You need to get the passives to be able to get that movement speed. So I don't think he would have got close enough.
Even then, though, that's just showing the brutal force of this Trinity Force that came out, right? And that's one of those things you were talking about. If it's this top lane can absolutely go for Kez in his favor. Absolutely. The problem is, you mentioned it earlier, it's like 3-4 items. This GP still gets to do it. Lundorf still gets to bully Kez for at least one more full item. And the fact is, they're actually at parity. It doesn't quite look that way, but they're relatively at parity when you start looking at the gold department. Because these 2 carries, one of them's got 2 assists and a kill, the other one got a few turret plates in top side, so that's kind of where it's coming around. But if you look at the rest of the map, you're just like, oh, one of these teams is a 5k lead.
Kind of large right now. I don't really see how anyone can handle that.
Well, and they've also always got a zillion in their back pocket when they group up. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's almost a Phantom Dancer finished off onto Joppa. Draconium hasn't even got a full, like, all of the components for the Kraken Slayer or Gale Force, depending on what they decide to go for. I think Kraken Slayer is genuinely too greedy right now. I think you need the Gale Force for the added safety.
3k gold lead Joppa has. That is absurd.
Yeah, it's bad.
I mean, if you want to funnel into one player, that's absolutely the one you want to do it into. It is going to be this jungler, and they're going to be taking the Rift Herald for the side of Verdant. But what I want to kind of lead the direction is this bot lane, because Kez is dead.
Yeah, I don't think Kez is going to be able to do too much. In they jump, hook goes down, and Joppa will secure their 3rd kill of this game. Rift Herald was secured on the other side of the map, so curious to see where they go with it. May just look to try and jump in towards the mid lane and try and crack that open, but this is the problem. It's like Verdant, it felt like they leant way too hard into scaling, and then they picked the split push top lane in like a pretty. I mean, they blind picked this Fiora as well, knowing that things like GP were open, knowing that champions that can actually handle the Fiora were open, and now it's just getting even harder for the side of Verdant as Joppa gonna be able to pick up this tower on their own. Cannon Barrage makes sure that Lundorf feels pretty comfortable to contest this wave. And Hankat takes a tower shot for free as well.
Yeah, and not only that, if you just look down at your items, this Jinx still hasn't had an opportunity to actually get a fully completed Mythic yet at 17 minutes in, which is miles behind schedule. When if you compare it to the opposite side, Joppa is going to be assisting their jungler in securing this, and he's going to be backing and probably getting a Phantom Dancer and then some, I would imagine. It's going to be so much more. And if I'm on the side of Verdant, I am looking from it objectively from their point of view. How do they get back into this game? Well, one, I would say they need to try and get some money and some items on to this Jinx. The other side, I really want Viego to actually be empowered and kind of turned on throughout this map. Bunch of items that come out. That's one of the really important ones when you're looking to protect this Jinx with that Gale Force, but you're gonna need a bit more to really push it forward.
Look at Joppa's inventory. That base was a Phantom Dancer on a BF sword. That was a big base for Joppa. This is IE coming in next, and This is where Draconian wishes they were, and Kess probably not wishing to be here anymore because Clocks is going to land the flay, bring the lantern. They're going to throw the hook out, but it's not going to be enough. Down goes Kez. Another kill to Joppa. We talked about how this team was basically just enabling Joppa while Lundorf handles Kez. Turns out they'll just bring everyone to kill Kez, and then Lundorf is enabled to do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, why let them have their one backup plan still? Why not just prevent that from happening and just put them further and further behind? And now they can just leave this Tristana because they have complete map control. If you could toggle vision between these two teams, one of them has complete vision, the other has absolutely none. Clocks is just finding and just abusing and forcing out the enemy team. Verdant, you have nothing. You can see nothing on the map. Where on the opposite side, they can see everything. They have complete control. Yes, blue side,
no.
the blue buff is kind of hindered, but it doesn't matter. Look at this. They can just brute force their way through just through the power of vision.
Yep, and they're going to be able to take this tower easy peasy like that. And that is now 4 towers down for the side of Nativz. Verdant will be able to answer with this top lane tower, and this is a nice tower because it's that bonus gold plus the shutdown, or is it shutdown? I can't remember what it's called. Objective bounty, that's the word.
Yes.
You get the objective bounty as well, so that's 680 gold for Ericsson. Got the Fimblewood, got the Everfrost, but this isn't like a high burst rise. This is a more tanky rise. This is a split pushy rise. But the question is are the split pushes enabled? Kez definitely not. Rise is getting there, but probably wants like another item before we'll feel comfortable.
Yeah, like at least one more item. Rise really turns on when he hits that 3-item spike, but that's been the case since Rise, since I don't know, his inception, since the champion has existed through his many reworks and everything else. He's always been kind of a 2-3 item one where he's a terror, and that's when Rise comes on. Yes, some seasons he's been kind of pushed and allowed to do other things, but I mean, even at this moment in time, okay, you get a Rise going, great. How does that help enable the rest of your team, right? Like, okay, Rise is great, really will help with the front-to-back team fights. They have no interest in front-to-back team fighting you. They just want to pick off one of your side laners and just run at you with brute force. We saw them run at them with brute force when they took that mid turret. And in 1 minute 50, the clock's going to be ticking. Verdant, you need to find some of these opportunities or you're going to get run over because Dragon Soul is the nail in the coffin. The coffin has been set. They've made it. They've laid it out. They even put a nice little pillow for them. Is it going to be hammered on or is it going to be options? Verdant, you're going to find out soon.
It's one of those interesting ones, Mountain, because it's good early, but it's definitely the weakest as you move later into the game.
Yeah.
I even think that the new cloud changes as well. I feel like Mountain, the shield's not massive now, but there's lots of items that can handle shields. Not that anyone on the side of Verdant has built them. There are options towards these Mountain Soul shields, but we are now at the point where Kess might be able to fill this 1v1 versus Lundorf, and forces the flash out. The backup has come in. Lundorf able to survive for a little bit longer, but the buster shot was a little bit in from Joppa, and now Kess almost turns it onto him, but Joppa able to find the kill. Kind of hinted Lundorf a little bit there, if I'm going to be real. Joppa half HP, probably doesn't want to step up, because that is a pretty healthy shutdown onto Joppa. But actually, looks like Xin Zhao going in. They're looking for the opportunity. Winter's going to get flayed back. Does have the depth charge and uses it for a knock-up, but will lose their life. Joppa is dominating 6-0 on this Tristana. And casts the flash away. Snilly tries to chase, but can't find the jump in anymore. An absolute slaughter from the side of Nativz.
Yes, but Nativz not only got that, important thing to note. At a certain
what? That hook was amazing! Joppa going in for Ericsson. They do find themselves the resurrection as well from Ryle. And just like that, nobody goes down. Clocks with the craziest play I've seen in a while. Beautiful flash.
Yeah, and Kez actually teleported top, which is immediately going to get matched by Lundorf, who just came back from the dead. So he comes back. They're going to be getting this Dragon Soul. And Kez, cool, you're split pushing. You're also hitting all the barrels. Well played, actually, with that one. But now Dragon Soul's on it. Now the resistance is, Kez, you're not going to have anywhere near the kind of pressure that you had beforehand. And that went from good to bad to worse. Began off with a lovely 1v1 by Kez. Like, this is just fantastic. Also, the parry, which prevents the buster shot afterwards, actually throwing them into them. Beautiful. I mean, definitely going to report your AD carry after that one. But let's look at this one. Winter actually puts himself in an awful spot when he actually goes forward at the beginning of this. Objective banding was secured. They should have just backed out. Yeah, it looks great. Just don't back out. Winter went forward, and now the side of Verdant's like, we bit off way too much more than we could chew. If they had lost Viego here, it would have been Dragon into Baron into probably just ending the game. So not losing him here literally saved them the game. It's not like it saved much, though, because saving your jungler in a spot where you still give the enemy team Dragon Soul is not where you ever want to be.
It bought them time, is probably the best thing. This hook, though, is absolutely beautiful. Lovely cannon barrage, and again, the Chrono Shift just doing oh so much work. But now we go back, and Nativz are on to the Baron. Rocket from Draconium isn't even close, and it's not even going to do anything.
Yeah, and they have to just go back to the side lane pressure and just trying to find something through it. The issue is, if your opponent's this far ahead with a Baron buff, yeah, you can tap a side lane and make that look great. Doesn't mean you're going to win it when the enemy team is a Tristana who is, as you've already mentioned, fantastic at taking turrets, and they can just brute force you down. And you've got a Gangplank who's more than happy to play the side lane and ult when needed, and they've got that up.
It's super easy for the GP to hold the waves as well. Got the Collector building towards the Lord Doms.
That's one turret. Let's rotate around and take the next one. This is so cookie cutter. This is something everybody does in solo queue. The fact that you can do it in pro play is just must be so nice for this team.
Really is. Now 24 minutes on the clock. I think one thing to kind of describe about these games is I'm gonna hold my fort because Nil gone in. It's just going to take a whole bunch of damage, and Handcat might just lose their life. The pop from the bomb could be big enough. No, they're able to just about hold on. Winter getting heavily chunked out, and now Kez getting turned into, trying to see if they can find the turnaround, but Snil finds the knockup. The healing may just be enough, but against the wall, the Xin Zhao goes, and they are not going to be getting themselves caught yet.
Yeah, and Lundorf
was been decisive, the games.
Yeah, and this Gangplank's actually been able to join around. Look at this. They had the Zillion just speed up, rotate around, give him power there, give him power minions. Going to make Rise's time more difficult. Means he's going to have to spend even more time nursing and kind of preventing that way from putting in. That's fantastic. Look, we can just keep pushing mid then. We just rotate around and we pull and push. And you guys, you're losing your base.
Oh, nice hook, though. They're using all the CC onto Joppa, but Joppa is immortal. The barrel chain's not big. Ericsson doesn't do any damage, and neither does Draconium. They found the damage to crack open the inhibitor. They're not going to use this Baron to close out, I think. With Joppa being too low, they just have to call it there. No Chrono Shift available to Ryle as well. And that is just going to be Nativz cracking open the mid lane.
Joppa, take a bow, because you've caught yourself in some pretty perilous spots sometimes, but at the same time, you catch yourself in rather fantastic spots. At 6, 0, and 4, it's not on your own.
1,500 health on the revive from the Chrono Shift.
Oh, it's basically like reviving a full health Tristana.
Oh
like that's what happens when you go full AP. It's absurd. But it's fantastic for one of these teams, and it's awful for the others. Just take your poison, pick your poison, and go for this one. It's not the old Zillion, at least, as well, where you have to just kind of go support items and figure it out. Now you can go full AP and just do dirty stuff with your bombs and your healing and shielding. Well, not shielding, but speed ups as well. Pretty dirty stuff. But Dragon Soul is going to be on the table in another minute. I don't think this game's going to be over anytime soon unless Verdant put themselves in a bad spot, because we still haven't been able to fully crack all of the base turrets, so now we have to work on the side lanes.
Well,
no,
Kez is dead, unfortunately. Yep. Accepts their demise, and Joppa 7-0-4. I think even a shutdown onto Kez isn't going to be enough to pull this game back. The gold lead is just almost insurmountable at this point. You got 2 items on your Jinx, sure, but she's just not achieving enough as Winter has been hooked and Winter has been popped. The bomb is going to end it. And I just love that these Verdant members are now just well aware of what's happening, and they just stand still and accept their demise.
Yeah, and it's death timers are actually real now, Hitbrain. We don't normally get this deep into the games, you and I, but I mean, look at the death times. Kez is still dead. This is 4 members.
They're jumping under the tower. The cannon barrage is big. Joppa looking for Draconium. Gonna jump onto the fountain. Use that stopwatch. Ral can keep him alive with a bit of the res, but it's gonna come in just a little bit too little, a little bit too late. And just like that, Verdant have found their opportunity, found their window. Draconium trying to find the zap. Tower number 1 hasn't fallen. It stays standing. The hook from Clocks goes wide. And Verdant hold on to their base. Greedy play by Jopper is going to extend this game a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's only them they get to look back and go, well, this wasn't the plan. We probably could have ended on that push. I don't think, though, that's going to give Verdant much of an opportunity. It's fantastic that Jinx was able to secure the kill. Huge amount of shutdown gold. I believe it was 650 shutdown alone gold going over.
It was
Plus
1,000 gold.
Oh, 1,000 in total.
Yeah, they were worth 700 gold. So 1,000 gold shutdown. The big
Wow.
1G.
Well, and that's the person you want it on, right? If you can get Jinx to level 16,
Wait.
if you can help secure, and
Wait.
Elder's gonna be perfect.
Way.
Landorf doesn't have ult.
No way are they going to get Elder. This could be the turnaround we've been waiting for. Snee's been found out, and they're jumping over the wall, instantly caught up by the CC. The Elder is secured. Verdant have found their opening, but they're looking to run in. The teleports are coming out, and Ericsson's going to try and get as much damage in. The root goes down, locks him in place. Lundorf can't find the barrel. They gifted the Elder. The slows are so big. Lundorf, he only needs to eat one more Q, and he's going to go down. There it is. Ericsson, 600 gold in the pocket.
Well, let's pick up these shutdowns and let's actually move it more in Verdant's territory. Hey, that's step one. The issue is they need to do step two. Baron. Hilariously, one of these teams is fully rotated around to the bot side. The other side is like, hey, we're just going to brute force you through mid. All you've got is a Zilean. Zilean's actually really good at wave clearing, so that's not going to be fantastic for you. But they are on the top side, which means they can rotate around for this Baron, which is coming up in 8, 7, 6, that much amount of time. I don't know. This is surprising.
This is scary.
Yeah.
Jinx has now got the IE, so this is a 3-item Jinx. Kez can't wave clear like a Zilean can. Has got the Tiamat, but also has the Gift of the Elder, so these Tiamat burns can do a lot. And now he's jumping into Jopper, looking to try and pop him, but actually Jopper's still very strong. He says, your Elder be damned. This tower will fall. Baron is going down relatively quickly. I don't think Nativz have the ability to take this tower, but there is Elder, there is Baron. This is Verdant's one opportunity to try and take over this game. Question is, can they do it? Because they've got 2 waves of supers pushing into them. Mid lane inhibitor has respawned or will be respawning soon, so no more supers.
Yeah, and I want to highlight just one thing that we haven't talked about for a while because it wasn't important. The gold. It's now a 2k differential between these two teams. There was a way bigger gold lead, but they've been able to secure so many objective bounties at Verdant that they found a way back in. And it looked like it wasn't going to be reasonable, but they found it. This Elder Drake, though, what a performance. They just pulled the trigger and immediately went for it. No one was there, sadly, for the barrels as they came through. So
the barrel didn't hit the dragon.
No, it didn't.
That was they tried to barrel chain into Smite. That is so sad. They missed that, and we talked about scaling at the beginning of this game, and it has come back around. Jinx is now at the point where item deficit versus Jopper is pretty much irrelevant. Yes, there's a 1-level lead, but this is not the Jinx we were worried about earlier. This is now, Jopper's very strong, yes, but Draconium is also very strong themselves. I believe the Elder has worn off for the side of Verdant, but they still have this Baron to work with, and this means that they can look to try and do some damage to the base of the side of Nativz. Have Verdant found that opportunity to get back into this game? It's still a very uphill battle, but they've bought themselves a window. They've bought themselves time.
They're a gold parity hit brain. Absolutely do I think they can do this now. I mean, they've also got a Ryze who's level 18. We're hitting up to this mid-game point. Ryze is 18. Kez is 18. Lundorf, I imagine, is not far off of that. And Zilean is also 18. So, I mean, we're kind of in a place where absolutely Verdant have just kind of stemmed the storm for long enough that they're coming out the other side, and there's an opportunity.
I mean, it's the scaling. Like you said, almost full build on the Ryze. Ryze is 18. He's the tank build as well, so he's very hard to kill, but he's also got incredible scaling, so the damage is going to be there no matter what. He's just going to be impossible to kill. It might not as bursty as like a full AP Ryze, like you do see, but this Jinx, they're doing the damage. Like, you're 1.5 items off being full build now on your Jinx, and suddenly this Jinx who was just doing nothing is starting to really hit hard. That Fountain Dive by Jopper genuinely could have cost Nativz the game. Now, I'm not counting them out. They've still got a very fed Jinx. The rest of the team are also in a very good position. Lundorf is very strong on the GP. So it's not like this game is completely over, but I am starting to worry that maybe that Fountain Dive could have cost them way too much here.
Oh, I mean, they should have blown up the whole base. Like, on that push, they should have thrown it.
Yeah.
Even if they can't destroy the Nexus, for instance. Let's just say they couldn't destroy the Nexus. Both of those towers should have gone. One of those other probably Nexus turrets out on the out of base should have probably gone down.
Yeah.
And, like, now they've still got 2 inhibitors down. They've got 2 turrets down. I mean, Verdant are still on the back foot. They might be at goal parity. They might even have scaled back up into this game. The problem is minions are still coming in. They don't have full map control when everything is going to probably stabilize a little bit. The problem for actually on the other side, they haven't actually had an opportunity to actually kind of stabilize the game to any sense. Verdant have just been keeping up the pressure at every single turn. After that Elder play, right? They haven't let up the gas since. It's going to be important when we come back from this pause, though, that they are able to keep it up. Because if it slows down even slightly, I feel like momentum can easily be shifted and one objective, and
Yeah.
it's back in
I
bad
think
territory.
I think the big thing is the side of Nativz can afford one more slip up as long as it's not like a full ace. They can afford like
Yes.
one
Yeah,
full
yeah, yeah,
slip
yeah.
up, right? Or
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
little slip up.
Yeah,
I
like
feel
Lundor's
like
getting
one
caught out or
slip up
something.
from the side of Verdant, they've got two open inhibitors, and just they did dash those towers earlier, so they probably were recovered by now. But all it takes is one mistake from Verdant, and their base is gone, and the game's over. And this time, Jopper won't try and just go for the ego kill and jump onto the fountain.
Oh, God, I
I
hope
think
not.
I think the margin for error is there for the side of Nativz, and I
Yeah.
don't think it's there for Verdant. So Verdant, yes, they need to get their foot on their gas, but they can't go too hard because if they do overextend, they're going to find themselves caught out, taken down. Because yes, Jinx is online. Yes, Rise is now online. Doesn't mean that the Tristana's not online. Tristana's getting that range every level. Yes, there's still one more level, so there's still a little bit more range to gain, but also almost full build, only one item to go, and we've got the components for that item as well. So
Mhm.
it's that Bloodthirster coming in last for the side of for Jopper. So it's just like the
And they have a
scaling's
zillion.
great, but like the enemy team are also pretty strong still.
Yeah, and when you think about a front to back team fight, one of these teams always looks slightly better, assuming things go how they should, than the other.
Yeah.
Because one of them has a cannon barrage, the other doesn't. They have a Fiora. Fiora is not equipped to deal with a 5v5, especially against a comp which has a Thresh. Like, Thresh
Yeah.
is just looking to go, all right, come into me, Fiora, come on, I can do this. I put up a cage. Your move. And the Fiora
Yeah.
actually can't do it. There is a part of the terrain now where the Fiora cannot dash through. If she wants to do it, she's going to take 4 auto attacks from this Tristana and dies immediately. If you
Yeah,
riposte
exactly.
immediately into the cage, the Thresh just waits for you and then hooks you after. Like, there is a lot of bad stuff that could happen if they have a 5v5. They've done a really good job at stemming that off of Verdant. The thing is, they've also found a lot of good opportunities, and it all just comes back to that Elder Drake, right? They just pulled
Yeah.
the trigger and made the call and said, we've got to do it. They got it. They got out as well.
I mean, I said decisiveness was the key factor in this
Agreed.
game. I mean, today decisive. The teams that have won have looked very decisive. It did look like Nativz were being decisive. Bit of a mess up on their behalf. We understand that, but at the end of the day, I think a great decisive play by Verdant has pulled them back into this game. Like we said,
Yes.
though, it's not all over. It's still a lot. They still got to play this very smart. Look at the inventories on the side of Verdant, though. The big thing is because they're not all full build, Handcat, Ericsson, and Draconium all have stopwatches. This next fight is going to be enormous. You can see Kez got the potion, got the GA. They have the tools to take a really nice team fight. On the side of Nativz, they've got one stopwatch to work with. And then from there, it's just, you've got the resurrection, you've got some of the other things. But Nativz are actually trying to catch Verdant off guard. And it looks like they've actually successfully done so here. Lundorf looking for the barrel chain, not going to be able to hit it. And actually, a little off guard, a little off kilter. Jinx is still able to do enough wave clear, and the barrels are going to go wide. But that's one inhibitor down. The second inhibitor was already taken, so supers are going to start to crash in fairly soon. And Kez is actually staying up in the top lane, remaining to be a nuisance up here. Is able to do a lot of damage, but look at these towers already. Remember, they've already been hit back very hard in that zone control. You're talking about as big as they're jumping in. There's the cannon barrage. Draconium jumps away for the moment. The traps are down, the bombs are on, and they're looking for a bit more damage. The rocket's going to land as the tower goes down. Stopwatch is being used. That's one. Draconium's reset. GA is going to get burnt. The resurrection is coming in onto Snee as he gets the lantern out. Kez has TP'd in, and so far it's been a 2-for-1 in favor of Nativz. They're able to take one of the base towers. The Nexus only has one tower remaining, and Verdant just about hang on.
Yeah, and the absolute power of that play as well from Nativz is so important. There was a Baronaut still on Verdant for the last, like, 30 seconds or so. They just wasted it out, and if anything, they actually applied pressure when the enemy's team has this. And a bunch of the issue that the side that Verdant are finding is their jungler just is still so far behind the enemy side. This Viego is just struggling to find any opportunity. And it's okay if Winter gets himself in bad spots because he can still do what he needs to do. This Viego is just struggling with items, with damage, with so much, but it gets kicked off with this team fight. The cannon barrage comes down immediately. And just look at where the Jinx is. She's not able to be in this team fight for the longest time. They are able to secure that Tristana, and that's what prevents any form further push from the team. But it doesn't matter anyway. They still got 2 kills. They still got a Tara. They got an inhibitor. Super minions are still crowding in. In 30 seconds as well.
Oh, this could be really bad. Kez is going to get collapsed on by the whole team. Flashes over the wall with the flay, the hook. All of the CC lands. The GA means nout, as Kez will be shut down by Lundorf. Almost full build on this GP, and now teleporting into the mid lane to catch the waves here. Draconium and Winter are going to use this opportunity to get some vision down by this dragon that's coming up in 7 seconds time. But Handcat's heavily chunked, and with a 4 versus 5, I think this could just be a free Elder Dragon, although Nativz are splitting everybody on the side of Verdant up, and they're trying to run in through the base, trying to run towards the dragon, and it's forcing Verdant into an uncomfortable decision to make. Do we give up dragon, or do we just give up the base?
Well, they've completely pulled off, so they've decided, hey, we can't do this. We know they actually have the opportunity. Lundorf still has his ultimate. So even if they decide to try and find a fight around either of these, remember, the sheer power of Gangplank is the opportunity to go, we have options. We always have options. And with this option, they decide, hey, we're just going to pull you one side. We're going to go around the other side. Now with Elder Drake, they're going to be threatening so much more power. But in 40 seconds, if they really wanted to have that security, have that extra back pocket power, well, they can just easily go for a Baron in 30 seconds at spawning and then brute force. I would love to see if they can get one of these side waves set up if they did want to do it, but they haven't gone for that 20 seconds on that Baron. I think they're just going to look to brute force with this next one.
I think this is just pure power, the play now. They've got the Elder. They know they're all very strong. Level 18 GP, almost full build AD carry. They only need to do a little bit of damage to this tower, and then this is over. Watch for the barrels. These could be so impactful. One barrel chain could just lose someone's life, as Kez will be falling. Jopper able to find the first kill of the fight. Ericsson is next up on the menu. He's slowed down. The cannon barrage is doing oh so much work as Ericsson's trying to bounce the damage. Handcat lands the stun. They get the res. That's the second for Jopper. Make it a third as they have forced them back onto the fountain. The game is over. Just like that. Nativz. Game went way longer than it needed to, and I've got some questions for Jopper about that fountain dive, but at the end of the day, it didn't cost them the game, just a little bit of pride.
Thankfully, it didn't cost them that game, though, because Hit Rain, it looked like it could have absolutely, and towards the end, even when they were doing that brute force push into mid, they were actually down 1k in gold. Gold doesn't matter when you get to that much, it's semantics at that point in time. The fact is, they let it happen. Don't want to have that become a trend in your future games, I would say.
Yeah, I think that was probably one mistake that you'll probably never see out of Jopper again. A little bit of an ego play, but, you know, at the end of the day, they still won the game. He's probably going to get in a bit of trouble for that one after the game. But anyway, we're going to throw to a quick break because we did have a long pause. We've got some interviews coming up, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a moment.